Donald and Melania Trump kissing in public. Yes, that is the footage of this breaking story I'm going to show you in just a few moments. And we don't really see, obviously, Mr. Trump and Mrs. Trump kiss very often. And when we do, it tends to look a little something like an Iowa wrestler going for a two-point pin move, probably because she's not really that interested. And in this breaking story, what just happened at a baseball game, oof, is must-see TV. But let's take a quick gander down the road of all the moments when what makes this breaking story so special and odd is what's gone on between the two of them in public since, I don't know, day one? Take a look.
It's not easy when your relationship is under the media spotlight, and that's certainly the case for the President and First Lady.
We have to start with Melania, what she puts up with.
Hand-holding in public is something the first couple haven't got to grips with. Whether it's a searching little finger, a swat, or a hand pat, it's not as simple as you might think. And for some reason, it always seems to happen at airports. We can only guess that Donald Trump is particularly annoying on plane journeys. It doesn't get any less awkward with other forms of PDA. The pair have shared a few less than passionate kisses in public. Or it could be that Melania is annoyed at being left behind when there's someone more important around. Whether it's Prime Minister Modi or the Obamas, the President does tend to leave his wife bringing up the rear. Try to remember, it's ladies first, Donald. Otherwise, things can start to get weird pretty quickly. Especially if you're always switching between a smile and a sultry stare. But don't tell her off, or she might reveal her true feelings. But she's definitely useful to have around when you forget things, like raising your hand for the national anthem. Perhaps it's because when they do lock lips, Donald goes and makes a big deal out of it.
I've got to get the lipstick off, is it on?
Yeah, let's not forget that Melania has already said she's likely to not move into the White House. Because in this breaking story, take a look at what happened when Donald decided to go in harsh for a kiss on Melania at a baseball game. Look at this visual. Now you see that? Most of us have been in the position of actually kissing our girlfriend or boyfriend, whether it's public or not. And yet even when you're seated, usually if this is something that someone wants, the lady herself or the person who's being kissed would maybe tend to put their arm up towards the shoulder or the face of the person kissing them. And the person who made the move wouldn't have their arm around so hard and pulling. If you zoom in on the photo, you can see his fingers are white because he's squeezing so hard to pull her towards him. Holy smokes, folks. Now, I realize that this is not about what presidents are meant to do or be, and it wouldn't matter whether it was a male or a female that was the president. But the point being that Donald Trump has a lot of issues, and he has a lot of little boy tantrum energy and anger. And this is an example of we don't know what his internal household is like. We only know that his daughter Ivanka and also a couple of his sons have a real tough time with being around him after the first presidency. So when you get moments like this, and you hear that she's not likely to be in the White House, which is why she didn't show up for the traditional meeting between Biden and also say hello to Joe Biden, this example of Trump and his desperate desire to show some form of a public image that simply isn't true just goes in line with every other person around him and everything he says that simply isn't true. And how ironic that that very thing that is his psyche also exudes itself when it comes to being amorous with his wife in public. It's all a show. And while I don't know this for a fact, I'd almost like to believe on so many occasions Melania, since 2015, has wanted to look at him and say, "You're fired." Stay frosty.